All right, we're live for attempt number two. Hopefully, it's working this time. We've had freaking storms, so it is what it is. Power went out, blinked, so I probably had to reset everything once again. So anyway, here we go again. We'll just go through the finishing order, and then I'll jump back to the comments and see what you guys want to talk about, so that people have time to fill in and talk what they want to talk about. Poll question is: who's at fault in the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Joey Logano wreck? Either the 22, the 47, 50-50, or neither, because in that situation you got to go for it. That is the poll question. William Byron finishes in first place, wins the race. Tyler Reddick in second. Jimmy Johnson in third. Good run for the Legacy gang. Briscoe in fourth. John Hunter Nemechek in fifth. Alex Bowman in sixth. Ryan Blaney seventh. Austin Cindric eighth. Justin Allgaier ninth. And Chris Buescher rounding out your top 10 in this Wreck Field edition and Rainfield edition of the Daytona 500. 11th is going to be Michael McDowell. Eric Jones 12th. 13th for Daniel Suarez, 14th Ty Dillon, 15th Chase Briscoe, 16th through 20 is going to be Ty Gibbs, Riley Herbst, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Justin Haley, and Kyle Larson. 21 through 25 Cole Custer, Corey LaJoy, Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Cody Ware. And then the rest of your field from 26 on is going to be Brad Keselowski, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar, Christopher Bell, Ryan Preece, Shane Van Gisbergen, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Zane Smith, Josh Berry, Martin Truex Jr., Elio Castroneves, Ross Chastain, and AJ Allmendinger. Rounding out the back of the field, your winner on Earth 2, sold to AJ Allmendinger. All right. Let's jump in here and see what you guys want to talk about. Timber Ray saying we're back. Let's freaking go. BB number 2 says Russell Dominguez. I guess who's back? Back again. BB's back. Tell a friend. That's not how it goes. But it is what it is. I appreciate you there in between the lanes. Any paint schemes you like, BB? There were a few out there that sort of stood out. I like the 40 Travelers. That was a really good looking one. Didn't like the 21. I know some people did. Let's see here. The one car, always looking really good with the Bush scheme. So yeah, it's what was some other good ones out there? A lot of people like the Shaq scheme with Jimmy Johnson. Sort of had the net going on with the car, like sort of bossed into the car. Let's see. 2 car was kind of normal. 3 car was kind of normal. 4 car kind of normal. 5 car definitely normal. Those are the only ones off the top of my head that kind of stick out. But there were definitely some good ones out there. Just can't remember them off the top of my head. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's free, says Rosie. Appreciate you there, Rosie, jumping in and helping out. What do you think about Byron winning the 500 again and Jimmy Johnson getting third? So yeah, that's going to be sort of a lot of people are going to talk about the wrecks and stuff like this, but 2 in a row for William Byron. He's now only 1 behind as far as Daytona 500s go, Denny Hamlin. So can he catch Denny Hamlin, and can he pass Denny Hamlin on that list? He's young enough. Dare we say it? Can he get close to the Richard Petty 7? Like, I think Richard Petty's got 7. I'm not sure how many other people have that many Daytona 500 wins. Off the top of my head, I think Richard's got the most. So he's in the conversation for it for sure. The Grizz says Russell Dominguez. Joey Logano is a weapon. Just ask Kenseth. 3/4 of the NASCAR drivers, says Next Gen. So Kyle Busch was sort of, he thought he placed the blame on Joey Logano. We'll put it that way. Clint Boyer in the booth seemed to think that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was overly aggressively blocking. So those seem to be the 2 perspectives, if depending on who it is. And of course, if you pull for the 22, it was the 47's fault. If you pull for the 47, it's the 22's fault. Like that plays into it too. But it could go literally either way. So that's why I feel like it's a good poll question. And right now, with 20 votes in, 45 to the 22, 25 to the 47, 14 to the 50-50, and neither, you have to go for it there at 14%. So pretty much, if you take all the options, it's 50-50. So no necessarily clear winner just yet. Let's see. That Cindric move to get ahead before the wreck was nasty. So Cindric was wheeling, man. Cindric was out there going for it. Him and I don't know who had the best car, but it was definitely either him or Joey Logano. Ryan Blaney had a good car, but his 2 teammates, or maybe he was holding back and relaxing or whatever, but his 2 teammates, they looked like they were the absolute class of the field. Cole Custer at the very end of that race had a piece too. He was going toward the front. There's no doubt about that. Before the 6 car got wrecked, he looked like he could go to the front at will too, and he looked like he was just biding his time, ready to go back up to the front when he got caught up in one of them. Fords are really fast. They work really well together. They've got that flat nose. It pushes well. They were doing everything right until they weren't, and things went bad, and literally things went sideways. But yeah, that Cindric move, Cindric was going for it. You like to see it. I like to see all the guys going for it. I just hate to see the wrecks. The underbody is going to get a lot of attention, a lot of traction as well. They need to do something about it. Like, these cars can't keep flipping like this. There's things they can do to them. They just need to take a look at it and do them. I vote remove it all the way and put an X brace in there if you need to tie the body to something. But there's very different options you can go and take a look at to get rid of it. In the 1950s, they said we would have flying cars. NASCAR said challenge accepted. Says like dislike. That's a fact. NASCAR bringing the future of 1950 to Daytona. I like the Briscoe Bass Pro scheme. Let's see here. The Bass Pro scheme was really good, especially under the lights. It's a good thing that they raced under the lights because it looked way better under the lights. Joey Logano, Indy 500, race winning scheme. The Joey Logano scheme was really good too. That was really nice. Bass Pro Shops, etc. I see Tyler Reddick had the fastest lap. You know what? I don't care, says Bruce Carvey. So there you go. Tyler Reddick getting one extra bonus point for the fastest lap. Bruce Carvey doesn't really care. Kyle Larson also said that he doesn't really care about the fast. He said, "I didn't know that was a thing this year, and I don't care." That was Kyle Larson's reaction to the fastest lap getting 1 point. Hit that hezzy, says Russell Dominguez. Byron's paint scheme looked good. Yeah, so Byron's, I just talked about it, and I completely forgot about the winner. Yeah, the Byron paint scheme was top notch. Like, the flames, they went like way bigger than the normal flames that Jeff Gordon had on that car, but they did a good job with it. Really good looking car. Probably going to sell a lot of diecast because that was a good looking car and it won a race. So it's probably going to move some merch for Lionel. Currently, Cindric and Blaney tied for the points lead at 48. Cindric got 10 for the duel. Byron leads all the other system points, says Cody Ledger. So Blaney and Cindric, the teammates, are tied for first place in the points. There you go. BB Computer is on Earth 2, trying to do a live stream on Earth 1. I think all the electronics around here are on Earth 2, to be totally honest. Had some thunderstorms and a lot of stuff blinked. So that's probably playing a little bit into it, but who knows? Could be YouTube. We've had problems with this for the last 3 or 4 streams. We've had issues. One of which was my fault because I hit the laugh track. So can't blame it all on the YouTube. Mark Cole, what did you think of Kyle Busch's response to the Logano wreck? And do you think Stenhouse should be fine with Logano? I mean, it just depends on your perspective on it. If you agree with Kyle Busch, then obviously Stenhouse, this will be a rare moment that those two agree on something. So they would, in their opinion, put the blame on the 22. If you take a look at it from Clint Boyer's, and I don't want to give my opinion because I'm going to give it later. I don't want to affect the poll question just yet. But if you take Clint Boyer's approach to it, Clint Boyer seemed to think that the 47 was the most at fault because he was aggressively continuing to block, saying he knew Logano had the fastest car and you knew Logano was going to get that spot eventually or go for it. So it just depends on your perspective there. You can also, look at it this way. It's 15 laps to go. You got to go for it. And you can also look at it at the 47 blocked way too hard and the 22 pushed way too hard. So you can look at it. All 4 ways. I can see the argument from both sides. So have at it in the poll question. BB, did you watch the pre-race show? I watched a lot of it. Watched the Pitbull concert. That was interesting to see him out there with no Trackhouse gear on, but still doing the concert, the pace laps. With Reacher there, and then Captain America dropping the green flag. Lots of cool stuff. That last lap was straight out of Days of Thunder, says Elise. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So just all kinds of smoke and stuff everywhere, and people just shooting through it. The 19, if it was Days of Thunder, the 19 car would be the one. I think it was the 19 car. The 19 car drove through the smoke and just kept going. Oh, it was the 48. Yeah, I take it back. I think it was the 48. 48 car just drove through the smoke and just kept going. So Alex Bowman with the Days of Thunder move there, at least dropping the merch link if you want to pick up t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more. Visit the merch link right there. Appreciate you there, Elise. Earth 2, Priest flies over the fence like a home run, says Next Gen. So once again, we had a car flipping and all the talk about, hey, we paved the infield. We won't have cars flipping. Cars are going to flip until they do something about the underbody. Hello from Prescott, Arizona. Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson for his 3rd place finish, says George Hassler. Indeed. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson. A lot of people are like, oh, he's washed. He can't do this and that. He ends up getting a third place. That's got to be some good momentum. Legacy with two cars in the top five. Good momentum. John Hunter Nemechek also there. And Eric Jones was running in the top five before he got caught up in that the Ryan Priest situation where all that went down. Stenhouse either isn't skilled enough to block effectively or chooses to opt for driving into faster competitors. He can't outrun, says Jamie Schweitzer. There's definitely going to be a lot of people that see it that way, and there's there, like I said, all four options are negligible, or are all possible to be right. All four options are possible to be right at the same time as well. So going to be interesting to see how the poll plays out. Byron saw his 2024 race winning car before the 500. Says in between the lanes. That is cool. He's taken one car out of the Daytona Hall of Fame or the Daytona Museum or whatever, and he's putting another one right back in there. He's taken the old white car with the flames, and now he's putting the red car with the flames in there. So sort of interesting deal. Someone better check on say Kyle. I did send him a congrats, and he said his phone's blowing up like he personally won the race. So he's having a good time. All his friends are chiming in, and hopefully he enjoys the victory safely and responsibly. So Byron Car Scheme, what's up, say Kyle? Good to see you when you eventually see this. So just going to give you a preemptive shout out because I know you're going to watch it probably later. Byron Car Scheme reminds me of the good old days with Jeff Gordon racing, says Mark Cole. Being a Priest fan is rough, says TJ. Yeah, especially at plate track. Look, I'm a Larson fan, so I know at the plate tracks Larson's going to get in one. But being a Priest fan, you got to feel like every time Priest comes to one of these, like, please don't flip. Because once again, in 2023, at Daytona, in the second race of the season at Daytona, I think he had another flip. So unfortunate for Team Priest in the 60. But before that, though, he definitely had a lot of speed and was looking good. So it's not all bad for the old 60 car there. BB, I tell you, when I saw Jimmy Johnson finishing third, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was speechless, says Tim Perry. So there you go. That's going to be a big story, too. Jimmy Johnson with the 48 finishing in third. A lot of people being stoked about that. Don't be near the 41 car, says like dislike. Yeah. So Cole Custer was aggressively pushing, too. There's no doubt about that. He had a really fast car toward the end of the race, and he was doing all he could do to win. And once again, you can look at it two ways. He was being overly aggressive, or you can look at it was the last part of the race, and he was going for the win. You can't lift. It's no right or wrong way to look about it. So that's why the poll question. That's not necessarily the poll question, but we have a poll question similar to that, and I'm interested to see how it turns out. Logano was clearly driving Stenhouse clean, so he could have taken out Ricky. He's proven he's capable of doing it. If that's what he wanted to do, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, I mean that's a fair comment, but I think you can look at it all kinds of different ways. And I'm trying not to give an opinion on it because I don't want to affect the poll, but I will toward the end of this give my opinion after I feel like the poll's kind of settled here. So let's see. I'm so glad there wasn't a trigger happy caution button guy, and they let them race. I feel heard by NASCAR. I'm with you, TJ. So let's give NASCAR credit. We were critical of them in the previous race that they hit the button way too early in the duels, and they listened and they responded. So good for them. Shout out to them. I'm so glad there wasn't a just read that one. Michael Moobs was literally crying when I texted him. He's as happy as he can be over Jimmy getting a podium. Good for him, man. He is probably the biggest Jimmy Johnson fan on the face of the earth. So good for him. I'm glad that he's crying tears of happiness. And shout out to him. He's got a great channel. Not that he needs my help because he's got way more subs than me. But if you've never checked him out, go check him out. He does a lot of great stuff on live streams. Has a super cool moderator over there that helps out over here as well. And so give him a try if you're into streaming. Super cool dude. Really nice guy. Daytona 500. Junior is next week. I love having two drafting races to start the season, says TJ. Maximum chaos. First two races of the season. Does Junior's team make another cup start this year, says like dislike? I think that'll depend on if they were talking about this was the right situation. I think it'll just have to be that right situation again for them to try it. So I never say never. I think they want to. I think they're just waiting for the right sponsor and the right deal. Priest specifically said that the rear diffuser is the reason for the cars flipping, says Next Gen. So there you go. Well, I guess we'll start with the rear diffuser and go from there. I'm happy for Byron, but how do you call something racing when they ride around saving gas in a huge pack and then the wreck on the last lap and seventh place win, says Escobar? That's fair. I mean, that's a fair comment. That's what it's down to with this particular car. So it is what it is. The car got air because he hit it so hard, the same way the 43 got air at Kansas when Eric broke his neck. Only difference was he was ramped in the back. Says Bumblebee. Didn't you call JJ to win tonight on Earth 2? Either him or Martin Truex. I was really close with Martin Truex, but AJ Allmendinger with the expired engine, I think, took the cake there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, AJ Allmendinger in the Celsius car only completes 42 laps. Engine expired on that one. Let's see. There was a lot of eyes on the race because the president attended the race, says Next Gen. For sure, that's going to amp it up. I think somebody said that ramped it up too earlier, and I think I missed that one. The president showing up raced race up the ante, said Next Gen as well. So yeah, not the first time he's attended one, and it was interesting. I saw somebody post something that in 1999 he attended one as well, and they had pictures of it. So uh, apparently he just likes going to the Daytona 500. So this is the second or third, at least the third time from pictures that we've seen him be at the Daytona 500. I didn't know about the one in 1999. Of course, he was just Trump back then, so it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. But who's the other presidents? Did Jimmy Carter come to one? I know Ronald Reagan went to one. I don't know which other presidents have come to one, but there you go. We've had presidents here before, so that's pretty cool. Reagan was the Firecracker 400 because Richard Petty won it. So I take that back. Reagan went to Daytona, but not for the 500. All right, let's see. The other car I remember doing a wheelie was Carl Edwards, 60 at the Talladega when LePaging the field became a thing, says TJ Morshed. So Kevin LePage, he got a couple of mentions here tonight. I saw that as well. I picked the number 47 in the top 5 for Fantasy League because I thought he was good enough not to include himself in the wrecks he causes. He also got the 22 as well, said Sir Wood Roosters. There you go. He had the 47 picked. Where did Stenhouse end up finishing? Stenhouse 18th. So not terrible, but definitely not the finish that you wanted there. Clownerd says good race because Priest is an engineer, says Ben Rupert. He might not be an engineer, but he knows a thing or two about flying and flipping at Daytona. Am I right? I've actually got the rim shot in here somewhere, but I'm not going to hit it. Junior getting a top 10 definitely makes me think they'll be back, says Bumblebee. I think if the the way they talked about it seemed to be like more of a business thing than anything else. But hopefully them showing what they can do, that will attract some more people to jump in there and be the sponsor. More people they're comfortable with being the sponsor. Can you imagine how much of a handful these cars would be without the flat bottom? It would equal better racing, says Escobar. It would definitely be way different. Hopefully it would equal better racing. I think it would equal better racing. Definitely at short tracks it would equal better racing. I just saw that Ram is coming back to NASCAR, says Chris Place. Yeah, according to Chris Knight, let me hold up. He actually wrote something down and prepared. A rare moment of quality for the show. Don't get used to it. We will continue to be haphazardly bad. But for once, we do have an actual name. Chris Knight. Chris Knight, with the article there from the front stretch, he is saying that his sources are saying that there is a manufacturer. They've confirmed that there's a manufacturer that has put in a thing to be into the truck series. So they confirmed that. And he is saying that his sources are saying that manufacturer is Mopar. So Ram coming to the truck series. Big news there. Very, very interesting to see what truck series team they get with. And if that builds into a Cup Series deal, because right now it's just for the Truck Series. They don't have anything. There's no news as to whether or not they're coming to the Cup Series as well. Truck Series, of course, you've got the Ilmore engine, so you wouldn't need an engine program. A much easier entry level in that series for the Mopar gang. But it will be cool to have some Mopars out there if the story is true next season or whenever it happens. I guess I should say. I shouldn't say next season. BB is predicting the 2026 Daytona 500 champion already, Kyle Busch. Indeed, we're going with Kyle Busch in 2026. It's going to happen. I'd love to see the analytics of the 47 car and see if he slowed down in front of Logano or not, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, it would be cool to see some SMT data. We'll see if that comes out. H.W. Bush is vice president, attended. Mike Joyce says, there you go. Vice President H.W. They said that Bush Jr. went into the 500 in '04. Says Mark Cole, Carter, Reagan, Bush Sr., Obama, and Trump have been to Daytona. So there you go. Obama went. I didn't know that one. I didn't remember that one. So Obama's been as well. So cool deal. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had 5 presidents go to Daytona, either for the 500 or the 400. So cool deal. Let's see. Bush Jr. Says Elise. All good. All good. Jimmy Carter was a ticket window employee in Atlanta before being the Georgia governor. Reagan flew Air Force One to the race he attended. So cool job. Cool deal. Yeah, they got a really cool shot of Richard Petty leading when Air Force One is flying in, or just a cool shot of Richard Petty's car by itself with Air Force One flying in. It's one of the coolest pictures of all time. TK said it. Says Chris Place. All my starters and garage guys were involved in a crash from our fantasy picks. Says like dislike. Oh, that's a bummer, man. Like, yeah, so a lot of people's fantasy team, it's Daytona. Everybody's fantasy team is going to take a hit. So it'll be interesting to see how the fantasy stuff plays out. Good to see Algar bringing the car back in one piece to help Junior's decision to race another race, says Bruce Carvey. Indeed. Glad the 500 is over. Now the real racing can begin, says Bruce Reed. We will see, because Atlanta could be another super speedway race if the tires don't wear out. Like they're saying the surface might be worn out enough now that it might not race completely like a super speedway. We will see. President Clinton brought his classic Mustang to the Charlotte Motor Speedway at either a Mustang event or a Food Line auto fair at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, says Jamie Schweitzer. So there you go. A lot of presidents were into cars or into racing. So I didn't know that. That's a cool fact as well. So there you go. Lots of presidents jumping in on the NASCAR stuff. Always a cool deal. Always a cool deal, in my opinion. Let's see. In between the lanes, in order to be in the Fox booth, you need to be a former driver of Stewart Haas Racing, apparently. That is an interesting factoid. So Fox leaning toward old school Stewart Haas gang. Did they interview Stenhouse? Says Clownard. If they have, I didn't see it. I just saw the ones that did post race on Fox, and I didn't see anybody talk to Stenhouse Jr. there. I love the Daytona 500, probably in the top 3 favorite Daytona 500 races, says Next Gen. So there you go. He definitely put it up there pretty high. I don't know. I'd have to think about all the Daytona 500s, but I don't know where I'd necessarily rank this one. Pretty good. I gotta have Mark Martin and Kevin Harvick in there somewhere. Pretty high. Dale Senior winning one. I'd have to have that up there pretty high as well. I'd have to think about him though. It might be up there. I punched Kelly's wall when Martin Truex Jr. crashed. Says Elise. I almost I was talking to her in the Discord chat. I almost said condolences, sorry for your loss when I was talking to her because Martin Truex crashed out. But I felt like you had gone through enough, so I didn't say it. A rare moment of restraint. Now I owe her a piece of drywall. There you go. Hey, Team Kyle. Elise is a Team Kyle member. We're gonna get her a monster hat and some something to vape with, and some drywall and some drywall tape, so she can repair the drywall when she breaks it. Officially an honorary Kyle for the day. Other than being a driver wrecked, I really thought this was one of the best Daytona 500s for years, says Jamie Schweitzer. It was a pretty good race. You either like the wrecks or you didn't. You either like this style of racing with this car or you don't. So it's going to be varied. It's going to be interesting to see what Gluck's pulse is. I would love to see the Daytona 500 more of a handling track like it was in the 90s. You could see 3 or 4 packs, 8 or 10 cars each throughout the race, throughout the track, says Escobar. Yeah, I don't know why they were so adamant to get away from that. I don't understand, but apparently NASCAR didn't like that back in the day. So they went to more of what we've got now. Fox broadcast said only Reagan, Carter, and Trump have been to the 500. So there you go. Reagan, Carter, and Trump at the 500. Divide the last stage in half on restrictor tracks, says South Dude. Maybe. I don't know. It would. I don't know if that would play into anything. Petty Pearson crash race, still my number 1. Yeah, so there you go. The one that put NASCAR on the map, you'd have to put that in there too. So I don't know if I'd have it top 3, but it was definitely a good finish, an interesting finish to say the least. 2005 was my favorite Daytona 500. Says Elise. I'm not pulling that. Is that the 07 was the Mark Martin one. I'm not remembering 05, but I'm not great with time and space. Let's see. Chris Wright still has not stopped yet. Says like dislikes. Yeah, Chris Wright, not a fan of the brake pedal. He's all gas, no brake. W was there as well and gave the command. Says Bruce Reed, watch my 500 side by side with the Fox commercials. So yeah, give a shout out to Fox for listening to the fans and putting the action when they had commercials. You did have the action side by side, so at least that was good. They did listen to us as far as that goes. Michael didn't let Barack go to the 500. Says Escobar, I was punching air when Kyle Busch was crashing toward the end. Says Tom Strawmeyer. I think a lot of people were. He had such a good car. He had a chance to win, and it just was. I don't know. It just seems to be. He's got like that old Earnhardt look. The old Earnhardt look when it comes to this particular race. Unfortunately, I was there when Gordon passed Junior to win late. 05. Okay, I got you. Gordon passed Junior to win late. Okay, so there you go. That was a good one too. I wish Rusty would have won one of the 500s he was in. Yeah, there's a lot of really good drivers that don't have one. That's kind of the bummer as far as 500s go. It's the biggest race, and then some of your biggest names don't have one. So it is what it is. And then some of your guys that got one, they don't have a championship. So it goes like Denny Hamlin, of course, obviously coming to mind there. 1998 was the year Dale Earnhardt won the 500. That was my favorite. Says William. I like the windy scheme. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, Elio had a really good looking car. Unfortunately, his whole week, ended up, ending all of his days early. Unfortunately for him, in every aspect. But he had a good car. He was showing a lot of speed. He was doing what he was supposed to do. It wasn't his fault. He got wrecked out. It's just victim of circumstance, like many people were today. We've seen Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Bubba, Jimmy Johnson, and other surprise racing action by those not usually competitive, says Jamie Schweitzer. So he's having a little fun there with the RCR gang. Let's see. The Daytona 500 doesn't mean as much anymore. It pretty much is just another race, says Escobar. Yeah, I do wish they would put more emphasis on it. Speed weeks is what made it kind of special. That's a big thing that's taken away from it. No, you didn't say that. I wanted to watch the race instead of the commercials, says Aaron Flynn. Elio never going to want to see a NASCAR race ever again. Maybe. He was in a lot of hits. Hit everything but the Florida Lotto, says Elise. The real car we need to point fingers at is the 41s. There you go. Another Cole Custer. Not happy with Cole Custer. Is Mr. Moss here. Do you think the rain delays caused the biggest crash today, says Mark Cole? I don't think it was that. I think it was just the guys wanted to win the race. Some of the mechanical gremlins, maybe you could blame on the rain, but I think overall it was just guys getting way too aggressive, going for it. I don't think the rain really played into any of it. Is it just me, or has Ross slowed down since the whole ordeal with Hendrick? Says Escobar. I don't know if he slowed down or if maybe Trackhouse just doesn't have the same mojo that they had. But he had a fast car today. He got caught up in somebody else's mess. Unfortunately for him, Elio seemed pretty happy even after wrecking. I listened to his interview. He was happy just to be there. Says Thunderstrikes. Yeah, hopefully he makes another attempt. Scott Dixon said he wants to make an attempt, so maybe look out for him coming soon as well. Looked like Bell had a shot. Said in between lanes. Bell's car was way too loose. He couldn't hold a push. He was just way too loose. You can put that on Cole Custer, but even when he was running by himself, you saw the back end sort of twitching. At points in the race, Bubba Wallace's car was like that as well, but I think he got his tightened up. So he was the 23 car was able to get his tightened up, but C-Bell, he never could. He never could get the back end to do what he wanted it to do. I was generally happy to see the two RCR guys doing good, even though not usually they're fans, says Jamie Schweitzer. RCR was fast. Colleague was fast too. AJ Allmendinger unfortunately blew an engine, but they all had speed. At least here the race, I can do that on my XM way cheaper, says Aaron Flynn. Unfortunately, Fox camera work still sucks, or it's Fox TV producer. Yeah, whoever's doing the camera work for Fox definitely needs a little bit of help, but I don't know. It wasn't as bad. I didn't really notice it this race, but as we get into the other races, we'll see if they've improved on it or not. Cletus McFarland needs to run the Daytona 500, says William Gainey. He's trying to. That's the whole reason he ran the ARCA race. So it is what it is. That's kind of what he's building up to here. Good night, peace, y'all kids. I got to teach in the morning. See y'all on Tuesday. Peace. Take them easy, Elise. Let's see. Escobar, I have a feeling without Pitbull that Trackhouse won't survive unless they get a new partner. They already got a new partner. That's according to them. That's why Pitbull left. So a new partner has already arrived. So we'll see how it plays out. But apparently they already have one, and that's why he left. At least that's the official reasoning. We'll see. My kids got happy when they saw that kid, the Rizzler. I was like, who? I guess I'm getting old. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's popular on social media. Noah Gregson knew all about him, so it is what it is. BB, you worried that Pitbull moving away from NASCAR might hurt the interest in Mexico? Not for this season, because I think you still got Daniel Suarez attached with Trackhouse. So the Mexican fan base, if they want to pull for somebody from Mexico, they've still got somebody to pull for. So I don't think for this season it'll really hurt it. I think Priest, Cindric, and Blaney will go to R&D. Says Thunder Strikes. Possibly, and you possibly might see Joey Logano go to R&D too, because they changed so much stuff under the hood. They'll probably take a look under that to make sure everything was changed with the proper parts, because you can pull the old switcheroo sometimes there. Not saying they would or did. I'm just saying NASCAR will check it to make sure everything's good to go. It was all commercials, says Aaron Flynn, but it was side by side, so it's not the end of the world. You got to take the wins where you can get them, Aaron. Stevie Wonder, honorary cameraman for the on-track action for Fox, says Jamie Schweitzer. So speaking of Cletus, anyone with money can just race at Daytona in the ARCA series, even if they've never raced before. It looks like that might be the deal. I guess you got to have a big enough name behind you as well. Trackhouse plus JRM says like this, like somewhere with the Cletus deal, Mike Wallace is punching the air. But it is what it is. And somewhere Mike Wallace is probably punching the air looking at some of the moves that were made in this race, and they wouldn't give him a super speedway license. But I digress. We will move on. Do you think the Rizzler can get Kyle Busch in a dunk tank and pie Joey Logano too? Says Mark Cole. I don't know. I don't know the Rizzler shtick. Well, that means go to a race, says Aaron Flynn. I think NASCAR handled the rain threat and delay really well, says Jamie Schweitzer. That's going to be up for debate. Like a lot of people, I don't know. You're not going to make anybody happy as far as that goes, because it rained, and whichever way they did with the rain, some people are going to be mad, some people are going to be happy. But it is what it is. I'm glad they got it in. I'll say that. I'm glad that they got the race in. I'm glad it ended at night, because it always looks cooler at nighttime too. I didn't mind the broadcast tonight, but nothing will ever match the energy of Mike Joy, DW, and Larry Mack together, says TJ Morshed. Yeah, everybody's got their favorite booth. So I like the Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett booth, but that's just me. Everybody's got their favorite one. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano in the booth for the Atlanta truck race, says in between the lanes. So that's cool. Joey always does a good job, and Brad, the boys are reuniting, the former Penske gang members. Watched Kyle Petty in the ARCA Daytona with win ARCA in Daytona with no experience, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, so there you go. Earnhardt Jr. is Trackhouse's new partner, says Joseph Wooten. No, it's an actual firm that bought into him. It is not Dale Jr. I like the Cup drivers in the booth, says in between the lanes. At least that we know of. We know that a new partner bought in, and it wasn't Dale Jr. That's what I was referring to. If Dale Jr. bought in, he hasn't announced it yet, so we will see. We will see. I like the Cup drivers in the booth, says in between the lanes. Me too, says Aaron Flynn. And looks like we reached the end of it here. Final results of the poll question. 50% for the 22, 24% for the 47, 17% said it was a 50-50, both their fault. 9% said neither. You have to go for it there at the end of the race. I lean toward the 50-50. Stenhouse was aggressively blocking, and Joey Logano was trying to go. It's the end of the race. So I go with 50-50, and I go neither are necessarily to blame, because you got to go for it. It's the end of the race. To me, it's just a Daytona wreck. That's just the way I saw it. So that's my thoughts on the poll question there. Got some more chat here, so we'll keep it going. But that's my thoughts. Didn't want to affect the poll, but I feel like we got enough votes in now that I haven't necessarily affected it. We know Trackhouse's new partner is Capital, says Thunder. A year ago, I asked you if Roger Penske could bind to NASCAR. It may become true, says Jamie Schweitzer. Hey, there you go. Maybe he makes the IndyCar NASCAR alliance a real thing by buying into it. Elio racing a stock car before when he raced in the IROC series, says Escobar. I think Pitbull has been on the way out for a while. Yeah, you saw him at fewer and fewer races, and he just was seeming to have fewer and less involvement with it. So I don't know. And then you can, if you really wanted to speculate, you like Ty Norris leaving too. So like you can do all kinds of speculation, but nothing that's come out or nothing that's official yet that we know of. Was hoping for an Eric Jones win, says John Bradburn. He had a good car, just unfortunately caught up in one of the wrecks there toward the end. They kept saying it was his first time in a stock car, says Escobar. Well, first time in a cup car, I think, is what they meant, or a NASCAR stock car. But yeah, for sure. He drove IROC, no doubt about it. Aaron Flynn, peace to you as well. George H.W. Bush was the 1978 Daytona 500 Grand Marshal when he's director of the CIA, says MPF. So there you go. There is your fact right there. Dropping knowledge. Appreciate you there, MPF. Types random stuff to keep BB up until 2 a.m. says Thunderstrike. Go for it, my man. I can read just as fast as you can type. Fear not. How about the fastest lap? 199 or something, says Sir Wood Rooster. Well, they have Junior's Cup car available in model form. Yeah, I don't know about model form, but they got the diecast out, James White. So you can pre-order that now at NASCAR.com. So yeah, lap 199 was the fastest lap. Tyler Reddick apparently turned it there. So they had plenty of speed at the end of the race. The tires probably were not a factor. All right. That looks like the end of it. So appreciate y'all. I'll go work on the video for tomorrow. And until next time, peace.